Hello, everyone. I would like to give an overview of the SEER Historical Database, in short SEER-HD, and also the data storage and retrieval processes, and also give an overview of how customers can customize SEER-HD for their own data. So some fields that are not SEER formatted, how you can create custom tables and custom fields, and how you can view your data in the SEER Metrics. Primarily, we're going to be concentrating on SEER Metrics. It's our plotting tool that you can access either by itself from Start menu or through SEER-SM through the icon. Currently, you will see you're looking at our latest SEER Metrics, and data set that is showing is our IceBix data sets. One of the ways the IceBix data set, that's a lot of data, is not coming with the SEER-HD. One of the ways you can have a data to plot and compare your current estimates with the historical data is you can enter your own data sets. One of the ways, pretty much the only ways to do that, to enter the data and modify data and delete data in HD is through our SEER Historical Database Administrator. Let me go to that. You can access it through the Start menu, go to our SEER folder, SEER for software, SEER Historical Database. This tool is pretty much in administrator for our SEER-HD data sets. Our SEER-HD comes in as an Access and a SQL data set. Today, I will be concentrating on the Access SEER-HD because it's easier for demonstration, but you will certainly be able to do the same custom fields and viewing processes with a SEER-HD SQL. And I'll show you later the tools that you can do that. When you start your historical database, you have a quick chooser menu. If you are familiar a little bit with a database or not at all, you can have a list. You will see the list of the tools that are most commonly used with the SEER Historical Database Administrator. In short, it's called SEER-HDA. One thing you can do is to retrieve data. You can add a new record, and you can save and then later recall an editing session if some data modification process was not finished last time. What you can also do is you can see where here you can import the projects from your SEER Enterprise Database, SEER-DB, and you can also import your current SEER-SM project as if your current estimate in SEER-SM on the regular project file is finished, then you can enter it to the SEER-HDA as a historical data. That's a certain, the things you can do. What I'm going to demonstrate in a moment, I already, in the data set that I'm currently using for this purposes, I have a SEER IceBix installed, loaded. So I'm going to retrieve that data. Through this dialog, you will be able to, you will see certain different ways that you can retrieve the data based on the group, on the project scale, by the size of it, and also the descriptions. You will also be able to search by knowledge bases if you're aware of or if not aware of, like if you have a specific application or platforms that you want to narrow down the data sets. Or more advanced way, if you are familiar with our SEER-HD, or if you already have or will have custom tables in HD, you can also sort it out by this advanced filter. For now, I already have a IceBix data set in there, and I will just retrieve that group out of for purposes. In HDA, when you retrieve a data set, the default you only have one column that is in view. It's the name. You will be able to enter other columns, and we also have a set of different views that you can load into the SEER-HDA for the viewing purposes. If you go to the View Tools, and the columns, add, you will see this list of pretty much all the columns that are available for viewing purposes that are currently in HD. There are some columns in SEER-HD that are for administrative purposes, let's say, and there you won't be able to view them or modify the data in them in HDA. These tables right here, ISBIX raw data 1, 2, and 3, these tables are what we will call a custom tables. Our SEER default installation does not come with these tables. This is something that we process this data set. We have manually created these tables and have entered data in there. This is the raw data means this is data that come in with the data set, maybe like an Excel spreadsheet file or Word documents, and we have entered the data there as it is. So we did not have any SEER formatting or SEER modification to the data sets. I'm not going to play currently with the view, with the column selection because I already have a view set up for this particular data set. Please kind of remember this location and the set of views that you have available for the HDA. Pretty much all of these views are available with HDA installation. So if you want to see kind of the most important information that is for certain projects, most common part of the projects that are being viewed, we have a set of views that come with installation. They are in a public documents folder. This location is for Windows 7, Vista, Windows 8, and you have a very similar default folder for Windows XP. For now, I'm going to pick a view because we already have several of them to view it, and we already have a view for the ISBIX data set that we are currently viewing. You see the names that I have created for the ISBIX data set with or without custom tables. It's just how many columns you'll be able to see in the view in any particular time. I'll show you. Let's do with custom tables. This is, if you see the arrow like that, this is not a problem. It's just showing that certain columns might be already in the view, will be opening again. This is a pretty large view, so give it a couple of seconds in order to load it. While it's loading, I'll show you. This is our folder with the views again. Most of the stuff has come pre-installed with the SEER-HDA, but you can also create your own views, and you can pick one that we provided and modify it, and you can also be able to save it with your names and stuff. And you can also, if you do share the data set, you can email to your colleagues the view and the data set as well. Like, for example, if I will be processing through their own the ISBIX data set and I want to modify, I can copy and paste it and rename it to something. Like more work revision 1, and then I can forward to this particular file to my colleague so he or she can view what I was working on. Okay, apologize, it's taking a little bit of while. While it's loading, I can, it doesn't always load that long, it's a huge data set, and it might take a while. Probably also because we are recording the webinar, it slows down the computer a little bit. While it's loading, a couple of points about SEER-HD. you have default installation, you always have installed one copy of SEER-HD, but if you do work with multiple customers and multiple data sets, you are welcome to have multiple copies of SEER-HD, and you can also have at the same time SQL and icebergs and SQL and Access SEER Historical Database installed on your computer. We can look into my data source administrator in my systems DSN that are pointing to different data sets. I have a multiple instances of SEER-HD that I may be in process and that I'm currently using, and then I have a SQL versions installed for them as well. So I can switch in any given time which SEER-HD I want to work with. So it's not necessary, you don't have to have one SEER-HD copy on your machine. So excuse me, it took a few seconds, but I've reloaded the view for the data set. I just wanted to demonstrate how you can view it at the same time, the actual columns that come with the SEER-HD and the custom fields that we have created. I've mentioned you before that the three tables, if you go to columns, these three tables, they were manually added to the HD. They do not come with installation, and that you also be able to view them in the process. The way, let me show it. Like if you there, since I created that view, I know that I have all of this entries at the end. So all of this training, given, speed of definition, speed of providing solution. This is not the fields that SEER-HD comes with. This is icebergs raw data fields. And all of this tool count, business area type. That we have a similar maybe for the business area type in SEER-HD, but this is icebergs raw data of format, and we wanted to preserve it that way. I'm demonstrating that currently that how the data set is being viewed, and then I'll give you details of how you can create the custom fields. So if I do want to create my own, I'm sorry, let me give you one more point. The way I view the custom fields, if I go to the data menu and select the custom tables menu option, you'll be able to see the options to pick that icebergs raw data fields that I want to say. I want to pick 1, 2, and 3 and add them to my current view. I want to work with this particular data. This is where you do the selection. For now, if I want to, sorry, that's quite large. This particular field at the beginning, this is what SEER-HD comes with. This relates to the actual tables and columns in our historical database. So if I want to clear this data session, I want to work with something that I want to create a new historical projects that are saved in my repository, and I want to enter my own data. I'll start the demonstration process for that. Excuse me. I apologize. It's just taking a little bit longer than I'm expecting, probably because of the webinar. Okay, it's cleared. So I have my own data and my own information that I want to enter. So for example, let's pick a kind of a default view that that contains pretty much a basic required somewhat information about each historical data set that I'm going to enter. So I'm going to insert the new records, and I'm going to enter, let's say, that test project. Give it a name. The next thing is I would like to maybe group it. And it's not necessary step to do it, but we do recommend to group the projects. Prime reason is it will be very easy to retrieve the data. What I mean by this, if I do want to retrieve something, okay, let's save the changes so far. If I do want to retrieve something, I can say the retrieval dialog. One of the first things you see is the groups, and it's this field right here. So we do recommend grouping the projects, maybe by the department or date or the organization where it's come from, or whatever it is that you want to create. And you'll be able to, it's like one of the first way you can retrieve it. Of course, you can also match text by name and retrieve it another way. You will be able to load it in a data view, but groups is one of the easiest way to do that. So I'm going to create, since I don't have one so far, I could create a test group, and you will see a message asking if I want to create it. And I'll give a description, demo for webinar. And then I will need to pick fields like a platform, application, acquisition method, development hours, development schedule, and other fields. Well, I'm just going to do very random selections. This knowledge-based selections, a platform, application, acquisition methods, they are all already have a list of SEER formatted, something that we use in SEER-SM. You can, there's a way you can maybe enter your own platforms, but we don't recommend that because the point of entering data here is to be able to view it within the SEER environment, and this is an important the platform applications and acquisition methods, important knowledge bases from which you can narrow down your data set and be able to view it in metrics and other tools within the SEER environment. And then, so I randomly pick the knowledge base, and then let's say, I enter development hours, schedule. I don't know, that doesn't make sense. 5. And I'll pick third generating languages. Another comment I would like to make, the development hours and development schedule months, when you see in HDA a field that has an actuals, you will not see the estimated prefix to it. Just to show what I mean, if I want to, for example, I will be entering some data from the SEER-SM estimates, that I can save the actuals like development hours, schedule, or development month. We have that available. But I want to bring up something from SEER-SM and save the actual estimate. We have a field that has a, well, this is the form for maintenance. It will have a prefix est and before the name of the column. So if it doesn't have it, that's the actual. So development hours and development schedule months, that's the actual values. Sorry, let me. I'll sort it by alphabet so I can easily navigate it. So yeah, if I want to, let's say, add it to this selection of the estimated effort month and estimated schedule month, I can enter it as well to this particular view selection. It will show up in the end, and then I can enter here the data maybe that comes from SEER-SAM, or maybe like an original estimate, but not the actual for the project. So I've entered this data. I won't bother with details of the size. Let's say our original estimate was, I don't know, 2 months, whatever. 2,500. I'm kind of happy that this is like the basic information that I have for this particular historical data. I want to save it to the database. It will ask me if I want to save it. I'll save it. I say yes. This is a clear view. If you want to clear this particular view in HDA or not, I'll say no. But now I want to say that I have some specific fields that I want to enter for this project, but they're not. If I go through the columns in SEER, what is available in SEER-HD, and I'm not finding what I'm looking for. There is no columns like that. I would like to enter something that is custom to me for this particular project. So this is more of an advanced process, and we assume only advanced users will do it, but you certainly can do that. One way to do it, I'm going to demonstrate for the Access SEER-HD, but you can also do it for the SQL SEER-HD, as you can create custom fields and custom tables in a historical database. One thing you should do, you should exit the SEER-HDA and navigate to the SEER-HD that you have been using to enter the data. Like I've been using this copy of SEER-HD. This is my Access copy, and I have multiple, as I've demonstrated before. Make sure it's enabled. You will see the list of all the available tables in here. And one table after you create your SEER-HD, you will have to enter the name of the new table in here. This user-defined tables. Right now I have the ISBEX data sets in here. This is where the SEER-SAM and SEER Metrics and SEER Compiler will read what's available from the custom tables that users define. For now, let's create, for example, well, let's do two things. Let's create a table, and we'll give it a name as let's say, a webinar demo. And we'll give it let's say, company name is something I like. In a couple of other fields, I don't know, test field 1, test field 2. And make sure that the company name, the test fields. I'm sorry, I skipped one point why I'm getting quiet. In order to custom table will be able to connect to the rest of the data set in the SEER-HD. I missed one point. Let me go back and demonstrate it. Each project that's being saved in the historical data set is assigned a number, so it has a unique ID that is being assigned to it. This ID right here, work element ID table, it connects each particular project to each table, so you can retrieve the data for the specific field from every table that is available in HD. So when you do create a custom table, the very first field that you create, it should be underscore work element ID. That will pick up the ID for this particular project and connect it to everything else. So we will have an underscore work element underscore ID, and that's an auto number. That should be at least one field this way, the first one for each custom table. And then you can create your custom columns, and we had company a name column in here. And let's say company name should be text. We can maybe have a number for one of the test fields. So we have a table named webinar demo, and then it contains 3 fields and 1 extra field to connect the work element IDs between the projects. We'll save it, and we have to enter webinar demo name to our user-defined tables. Otherwise, we won't be able to look it up through the rest of the SEER projects. That's pretty much all I need to create a custom table. But you will have to have the Microsoft Access installed on your computer in order to open the SEER-HD. In order to use HD, you don't need to have access, but in order to modify and enter new data manually, enter new tables manually, you will have to have Microsoft Access installed. And then you can also do the same thing in the HD SQL through SQL Management Studio. Just a quick demonstration. If this is Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and this is my SEER-HD, you will be able to find the table list, and you'll be able to also enter the custom tables and custom fields in there. So this is what we entered for our new test project. Like for example, now we have to save and exit. Go back to our SEER-HD Administrator, and what we can do right now is go to the Data, select Custom Tables, and we will see in the list of the available custom tables Webinar Demo table. So we're going to click it because we want to enter data in there, and let's say OK. We already have one project that we wanted to. But we entered previously, and we want to enter more information there. So we can retrieve this project from data set. I can retrieve it by name because we had a test as a name, or I can retrieve it by group. This group only has one project, but we can pick that as well. Another thing we can do is we can enter a views. We can pick any view, but we know all this view do not contain custom tables. But maybe we can just start with a default view because we've used it previously. This is all our information that we entered. But now we want to add more columns, and that we from the table we have just entered the HD, and enter information in there. So we go to the view again, we go to columns, and we see our webinar demo table in here. And let's just enter each of these fields in here. You can just a comment. You can rearrange the order of which you view the tables. If you don't want to see your custom tables in the end, you can bring them up and rearrange it as you like. Since we're in a view, one comment also, maybe you like the default view, but you enter this new field and you want to save this particular view. What you can do is you save the view, click on the Save the View, and you give it a new name. Let's say Test Project. view, and we'll save it. So we'll have this on the list. So next time you don't have to pick each column separately, you will have it there. Then we can enter new information in here. One was number, the other one was hello and the company name. A random company. Quick note, when you see a blue color in HDA, it means it's the data is not yet saved to the SEER Historical Database. You will have to click on the database. That is done in case you want to change your mind on something. This is because this is basically in progress data entry. Since maybe, let's say, we like that all information is correct, we like it, we want to save to database, we'll click yes, yes to all if you have multiple projects in the view. We currently don't want to change the view. So we have all this just one project information, and it's our, we know this information is in our custom table. One thing I want to say is that we only entered one table into the SEER Historical Database with just a little information, but you can create multiple tables and enter random amount of fields and random information for that. Just if there are certain fields that your company cannot match to the SEER data. So we have this test project in our data set that maybe want to do something with it. Well, maybe let's enter lines of code for just in case. That save to database. No. We'll close it. What we want to do with this project, we know it's saved to the data set, but maybe we want to be able to view it in metrics. Like if we go to metrics and just click on the view, we won't be able to see that because you need to go through an extra process to enter the SEER Historical custom table in there. One way where you will be able to, I'll show you a quick thing. If you go to chart configuration, you want to be able to see this new fields in this selection for the X and Y axis, and currently they are not visible, even though they are connected to the same SEER Historical data set. So how do we do that? What we need to do is we need to go back to our SEER Historical data set, the database, and we have a table here that is where the metrics is reading the information for where the custom fields are created. If you see in historical database the table that starts with a SP, that's it means scatter plot. That is our old name for metrics, and those tables corresponds to to what we have been able to see in metrics. And the customization information is also there. So we go to the table called SP Metrics table, and what you see here is pretty much what is available for plotting for X and Y axis information. You have metrics name, some ID for each metric, and then you have a repository, a table from SEER-HD, and the field name, as well as the units and the type of data that is available to see there. So what we want to do is to enter our custom data fields in here. So maybe we want to, we'll give it a new ID, and we have a table name webinar demo. And I think for the plotting purposes, it has to be a number field, and I think it was test. Sorry, I forgot where we entered. It was test field 1 that was a number field. This is right here. You give a name how it will show display in metrics as a name for the X or Y axis. So I'll just keep the same test field 1, and it's at numeric. I'll skip that. So we want to enter just make sure test field. So we entered our custom field into the metrics information. So we'll hopefully be able to see that now. We save it. We close our SEER Historical Database. We're going to open metrics again. And let's go to our chart configuration. Let's see if it's visible. I forgot which field I've created. Have a webinar demo field. I'm sorry, let me just get, I got rid of the log information. Sorry, I must have entered something different in here. Let me see. The metrics table. Oh, I'm sorry. This is I messed up it by one. This is a repository table, and this is a repository field. So let's do test field 1. Webinar demo. This is our the table for the name for the repository in the SEER-HD. And let's say test field 1. And then we have numeric data in the unit. Let's keep the unit. It's supposed to be test field 1. I apologize for that. Let's try that again. This is our metrics. Let's go to the chart configuration. And we see our test field 1. And we can maybe display. We don't really have a lot of information entered in there, but maybe total lines. Well, at least let's display it according to each other. We only have one historical data point with this information, so you're able to see it. For and you have a test field logs. Let's get rid of the log representation. So you're able to display that information in the metrics. If we do want to have a little bit more sense out of it, I think we entered estimated development schedule month to the information as well. So we have on the x-axis development schedule month and the whatever that test field 1 might represent in the y-axis. So this is how you can enter the custom information for the purpose of displaying the fields and metrics. It's not very counterintuitive, I would say, and I would recommend to do it for advanced users. If you have questions, by all means, you're welcome to contact Galerath. We'll be able to help you with that. And I mean, I did demonstration for Access SEER Historical Database, but you're certainly welcome to do the same thing in the SQL data set as well. I think this is all I wanted to represent for this webinar. I hope it was understandable. If you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me with more.